Okay.
Is Kevin? I've got this all wrong. Is Kevin Curran here to talk about Netflix? I think he is. Professor Kevin Curran joins us here from McGee. Martin Bradley, stay with me, folks. I'm just reading what it says here because here, grab a pen. Grab a pen. I bet you Kevin Curran hasn't used a pen for 20 blooming years. Kevin, there's a red marker. Look. With a piece of paper. What you do is you touch see the wee red end on that. You touch that on the paper and look what happens. We see.
That's like a stylus.
Okay, McGeeks, hit it. So write the movies down, chaps. Where's the boy in the bugle? There he is there.
Not a bugle.
It's a bugle.
No, it's not.
It's a trumpet. Kevin, 3 award-winning movies there to set up our next piece here. Did you get all 3? When did you get?
I got 2.
I got 2. I couldn't just get that second one.
First one, Kev?
The Exorcist.
The Exorcist.
Exorcist, yep. Second one, Martin?
I couldn't get it. Must have done. It's pretty quick.
I know it, because it's written down here. Third one, Kevin?
Jaws.
Kevin wins 2-0, actually, there, because Martin... Well, anyway, the second one was Mark Ayres.
What did you call the Exorcist theme?
The Exorcist theme was called the theme... Tubular Bells by Michael Oldfield. He didn't have to tell me that. The second one was from The Shining, Martin. The Shining.
The Shining, aye.
3 decent. But
not as memorable. The music's not as memorable as those other 2.
Yeah.
You must admit that.
We're talking about Netflix here, but firstly put them 1, 2, 3. 1 has to be Jaws, right? The Shining with the bit where your man coming through the door, and The Exorcist, arguably the stupidest film ever made.
No,
Martin?
I would put The Exorcist number 1.
You would not.
I think The Exorcist is a brilliant film.
Yeah, I'd put it before The Shining, which I did.
Jaws, slightly below it there, but The Exorcist had such an effect on me. Still has. And based on a great book. Both of them based on great books.
The Exorcist was special. It was dark. It was. I mean, there was people who genuinely didn't watch it because it was so scary.
Even the spinning around head.
I could tell you a great story.
Projectile vomit, which looked silly.
Right. When it came out on video, remember video?
Yeah.
When it came out in video, a number of times after I seen it in the cinema, and couldn't get watched in the house because the director says you're not bringing that into the house. So I got it one weekend. She was away in England, and I put it on. I can remember this clearly. Put it on, watched it, and it was about maybe 15, 20 minutes into it, and the scene where Reagan is taken to the psychiatrist, and he's talking to her, and all of a sudden she comes out with this voice. At that point, that was me finished. Turned it off, put it away, and panicked all night.
I'm surprised
the devil to come.
It's patently ridiculous.
I mean, absolutely not. It's based on a true story.
You've had influence on Oscar-nominating film festivals, Martin.
Yes.
Jaws is arguably the most perfectly crafted piece of cinema of them all. Script, look, feel, touch.
Yeah.
Suspense.
Jaws. Yeah.
The fear of what you can't even see.
Same in The Exorcist.
Kev?
Well, what I love about Jaws is that as humans we're not good at evaluating risk. That actually more people die in the USA every year from pigs than sharks. But yet, how many people are afraid of pigs?
Or hippos.
Yeah.
I make the point, chaps, here goes the hook, because The Exorcist, The Shining, Jaws, John Williams first played the Jaws theme to Spielberg on the piano. Spielberg thought he was joking, by the way. They've all dropped on Netflix. So you can now get them on Netflix, so you can see that over the weekend. Because Dame Helen Mirren has hit out at Netflix, Martin, firstly, for the devastating effect it's had on her director husband, because she says it has ruined the cinema-going experience. And you go to the cinema all the time, because we need you to. But half the country is very happy sitting with a 50-inch television, Martin, a perfect surround cinema system, and gorging on Netflix till their heart's content.
I would disagree with you there, Mark, because I have, as you say, I go to the cinema every weekend, and in my experience, the numbers attending the cinema has not decreased. Now, I haven't got facts and figures from the local cinemas, but this is just anecdotal. The feel you get for it, the atmosphere, particularly if there's a film coming in, A Quiet Place, for example, last week, as word of mouth got round for that, you can feel the buzz from people going into the cinema. You cannot possibly get that from sitting at home with your feet up, watching your 50 or 60 inch TV and getting interrupted by a knock at the door.
Or a boy eating crisps that you don't know sit two beside you in the cinema.
Yeah.
Yes, but I've learned to tune all that out.
But I can't.
I arrived in late to Quiet Place. It is one of the best films at the moment. I'd recommend anyone go and see it. We arrived in late. Of course, it's a silent movie, mostly, apart from sound effects. And, of course, we had our food with us and we were starving. And, of course, trying to eat that for the first 10 minutes without making a nuisance or all around. It was really... therefore, I would have rather watched that at home. I could have had my...
I don't eat or drink in the cinema. I make a point of not eating or drinking in the cinema because I want to concentrate on what's on the screen, the movie.
Kevin, what's your relationship with Netflix?
I believe cinemas are going to die out. Unfortunately, again, like most of the high streets, they cannot compete with the convenience that we have been able to tune into Netflix, pause it, resume it on your tablet. Our TVs are getting bigger. I have the equivalent of the cinema experience at home with my 50-inch a few feet away from me because it's all your screen size relevant to where you sit. Is equivalent to the large TV. That's why you can have a cinema experience actually using VR goggles, for instance. Because it's to do with how far away the screen is from your eyes.
I've got surround sound things, Martin. I remember the first night I put it on. I've got a wooden floor in the house, and I had a Hurt Locker. And she was, your mum was in detonating the bomb, whatever. And I thought the bomb was the end of the street. The whole house shook, and I was like, oh. And I don't know. I just prefer that. I can make a bit of toast, Martin. I can
the other
argue
problem
myself.
I find is films. There's only 2 films in the last year I can recommend. One is A Quiet Place. The other is 3 Billboards Outside Ebbing. I believe all the stuff that I watch, the quality stuff, is from series, from the likes of Suits and, just whatever, Breaking Bad and Ray Donovan. I really think you build up the characters there, and films, 90 minutes doesn't do it for me anymore.
Martin?
No, I told you before, I've given up on TV, especially, and box sets and series and so on. No, I don't watch them. I like my stuff.
Breaking Bad?
Never seen it, never saw it, never saw one episode. No interest.
But it's utterly immersive. I get your thing and your passion for 90-minute movies, but I think Breaking Bad, West Wing, just utterly immersive. I mean, a part of our lives in a way that Star Wars never was for me, because I only saw Star Wars the one story, maybe go back twice. Don't know.
No, I would get fed up with it, really, because I'm not saying I have tried some things being recommended to me. Somebody says this is really good, try and watch it. Couldn't. Game of Thrones, 1 episode.
Martin,
finished me.
Game of Thrones
finished me because it's the repetitive nature of it.
But it becomes an immersive world. Kevin, I mean...
even there, I'm thinking The Hurt Locker was a great film from a number of years ago, because I liked stuff... the one that was based in the Al-Qaeda, chasing, Osama bin Laden.
Zero Dark 30.
Zero Dark 30. A fabulous film. But again, it's over...
Same director!
Yeah.
No?
Catherine Bigelow.
Did I get that?
What did you say?
Same director.
Yeah, Hurt Locker.
It's Zero Dark 30.
I think she did The Hurt Locker as well.
I think you're right,
Yeah.
Aye.
So that's 2 hours, 20 minutes of great TV. But The Looming Tower, for instance, on Amazon Prime now, is an 8-part series based on the hunt for that. Now, I'm not saying... But again, you got 8 hours of something which is very similar, and you're able to watch it over, a lot more, and the characters are built in deeper.
I think what they do is they lower the quality of the storytelling because they drag it over such a long period of time. And you have to fill that with a lot of stuff that really doesn't interest me. I made the point before that for a lot of times in series, if you might get a new series on TV, and little great storylines initially, and then they gradually run out of, storylines. So they revert back to things that you would see and, things like somebody becomes an alcoholic, somebody's a drug addict, there might be somebody getting blackmailed, or, it becomes a soap opera then.
Yes,
and they look at all these personal things.
But I bumped into Jaws the other night on ITV 13. I have a free set box. I don't have all Netflix or anything. And I just thought, fantastic, there's something great on. And I can see the attraction of that, because there's only so much TV and stuff you can watch, Martin, so why not watch the good stuff? And if Jaws is going to drop on Netflix or Exorcist, you can watch them whenever you want.
I have all those on DVD and Blu-ray.
You can't have them all. You can't have every good movie. Ever.
I have a couple of thousand in the house, and there's ones that I like, that I've picked. I mean, if
I would
you're
also
going
say the
to-
cost is important. Like, I went to Ready Player One, which is an excellent film, 2 weeks ago in Galway, and it was €27. Now that's, whereas if I'm paying for Netflix again, that's extra on there. Also, it depends on where you live. I've got to leave home, drive into the city, get parking. Okay, I mean the Super Bowls or the movie complex is good down there, but again, there's an effort involved again. So even if the movies were better, they have to be significantly better for me to go to all that trouble and to move in and also pay for the experience. Whereby, and again, I really think movie houses will struggle because just the content that's coming to Netflix and Amazon and again, and just the convenience of it again. And like I said, our speakers at home, our screens are getting
Martin says the place is
fantastic.
jammed.
I don't know. I'm surprised about that. I just can't. I'm surprised. Now, when I go, generally, they're usually half empty when I'm there.
But without commercial preference, Martin,
Right.
the investment down at Springtown has been vast, and the experience is probably as good as you're going to get.
But
It's
I was
like
mentioning,
LA down there.
I was going to say to Kevin that the Strand have now got all recliner seats. So when you walk on a sleeping at home, you push a button, your feet come up, you go back, and the staff were telling me there that they have become incredibly busy since they invested in
Okay,
that.
Netflix won, Martin Bradley nil. But
No,
that's
I wouldn't
right.
say so. I think this happened before in the 50s when TV came on the scene, and what will happen is the cinemas will adapt.
Okay. Cinemas will,
They will
die,
adapt.
says Kevin. Listen, fellas, a bit of crack finally again. Grab the headphones there. I want to talk about Orly Ermey. My goodness, what a huge character in cinema. He's died age 74. Ex-US Marine, proper, not a bluffer, an actual US Marine, an advisor on Apocalypse Now, but it's now for one role, I think that media will be talking about today, as Gunny Sergeant Hartman in Full Metal Jacket, perhaps, that he'll always be remembered.
Because I am hard, you will not like me. But the more you hate me, the more you will learn. I am hard, but I am fair. Here you are all equally worthless. And my orders are to weed out all non-hackers who do not pack the gear to serve in my beloved corps. Do you maggots understand that?
Martin, just
Brilliant.
a moment in cinema.
Absolutely brilliant. Because the first time you seen him, the first time you see that film, and you eventually realise this boy, he's the real deal. He's not an actor putting this on. He's been there and done it.
And the stupid song.
But all of that, I know all of that is so real, and it's because they brought him in to give it the authenticity. And I know
You're
he's
old enough to have seen it first time around, Kevin.
And around that time was Hamburger Hill as well, and also Platoon. So Platoon and Full Metal Jacket were two of my favourite, probably Vietnam movies.
Golden Globe, Martin. I mean, as an amateur, that's quite something. He wasn't an actor. He was a proper dude, and he gets a Golden Globe.
Well, when you say he wasn't an actor, I would maintain that somebody like that, like a gunny sergeant or a sergeant major, standing in front of a group of men, you're putting on a performance. So he put on that performance. He then transferred it to the screen, and he played the same sort of role.
Yeah, and later in the movie, it made
Later
sense the hardness of what he did because they were in war. It all made sense later in the movie why he put them through that to prepare them to not get killed. So
To respond immediately when he gave a command, But if you think of Toy Story, he was in Toy Story. You know the wee soldiers, the wee plastic soldiers in Toy Story. He was their gunny sergeant.
The wee green boys with the flat feet?
Yes.
Was he?
He was.
I didn't know that.
There you are. Watch Toy Story again.
So, folks, Jaws has dropped. Kids, couldn't resist it. Jaws has dropped on Netflix to the delight of Kevin Curran. Martin Bradley will not be having any of it. Or thereabouts.
I'll just go and lift down my Blu-ray of Jaws
Watch
and
Jaws.
watch it
yeah, and wait.
without buffering.
Well, you wait 2 minutes for it to start.
I don't mind that.
Blu-ray.
I don't mind that. Because it
At
tends,
least.
my Netflix tends to stutter at times, and then run out of sync, audio and voice,
Okay, well that's a
which
fair
doesn't
point.
happen with the
But
Blu-ray.
I do. Well,
All right.
you got to get through. Yeah, the menu system does my head in on Blu-ray. The way that they do it and they load it with ads as well. They slow it down. Actually, it was a step backwards from VHS. Was Blu-ray?
You can skip.
Not on all of them, but you're right. Yeah.
I know.
Yeah.
Well, listen, Martin, we need to hot seat you.
Okay.
We need to hot seat you. Martin Bradley, our man at the movies. One day, Kieran's coming in for a final chat. Kevin's going to stay with me. Martin Bradley, there, our man at the movies. This week's movies says, Martin, a 4 out of 10 for a very average Truth or Dare. Decent movie, though. Rampage, about the sort of supersized, genetically modified gorilla and wolf. It's stupid. Kevin is still here. Finally today, folks, the pub chain JD Wetherspoons has been taken to Twitter to tell their 40,000 odd followers that they are leaving Twitter. The business says it's because of bad publicity about social media, trolling of MPs. I mean, why would you close your pub? Because anyway, it says the firm's head office and 900 pubs will all quit their social media, including 100,000 people on Facebook, all their Instagrams and all the rest. Chairman Tim Martin says it'll have no effect on the business model whatsoever. Well, Rose McMahon, Kieran Murray started Pure Dairy. He's also a media advisor to many's the player in the private sector. He joins me alongside Professor Curran. Kieran, good to see you. It's an interesting one, isn't it? Because if you want a pint and a pie, you don't need Tim Martin to be on Twitter to tell you that might be a good idea tomorrow at 2 o'clock.
No, you don't. I mean, but I think it's more of an indictment of their kind of overall marketing strategy and their overall demographic of their customers that they don't need to be on social media. And I kind of look at it and think, I see the whole, that they're doing it for sort of noble reasons, taking themselves off because social media is addictive and all that is a bit of an excuse, really, because I don't think they've done particularly well with their social media accounts. I mean,
it's pretty small compared.
Their numbers are awful for a national brand. I mean, I have a page which is approaching that 100,000 mark, and I've done that for nothing. So the fact that they're a national company doing that, I think it's just it's more indicative of the type of clientele they get, probably 50 plus. 50, 60. I mean, there's a lot of OAPs, and also I think the younger drinkers that do go on this. I mean, Kevin, I don't know if you would think to this maybe, but in the years gone by, when I would have stuck my head onto somewhere like Iceworth or Wetherspoons, it's never really been a place that you particularly shout about. It's not. It's more like a kind of like a dirty secret. I went into Wetherspoons at 3 or 4 pints cheap, and then I headed on to town, and maybe a cheap curry, and it's kind of like a city centre carry-out, for want of a better word.
But I mean, the thing is, all those people paid. I mean, some organisations, including this one, have to do digital silos, for goodness sake, people working night and day on social media stuff, because it matters in our game, which is news, current affairs, stories. Kieran, maybe that's not what his business is about, and some businesses maybe need it more than others.
Possibly, but also I think what it's actually doing is it's signalling that he's given up on that youth demographic, that he's actually gonna try and change the business model to attract those. I mean, he's basically saying our demographic is 50 plus, we're happy with that, and we're going to stick with it. And it sends out a massive signal to anyone of that younger social media generation that actually we don't care about your business.
But what about in our business, what we call the replenishers, Kevin? When all the 50-year-olds become 60-year-olds and they become 70-year-olds and then 80-year-olds, where do your replenishers come from if they don't know you exist?
It's possible they'll have to revisit it. I don't believe the excuse they gave about MPs trolling. I think it's because they haven't put any effort into the social media strategy. They were trolled last year by Tweet, which said that staff were not allowed to wear remembrance puppies, so they were burnt by that. So if they're not managing now, they could have turned that around, they could have got onto there, but if you're not managing your social media strategy, then you're better off without having the presence there, because at the moment as well that the reviews on Facebook that they have, very poor following, but some of the reviews are terrible for the site, and no one seems to be managing that and coming back, and the reviews are mostly negative. So therefore, in their case, they're better off without a social media platform.
But Kevin, you'll go to the pubs that you want to go to, assume you have a pint, as will you, Kieran. I mean, and you'll not be swayed, will you, by Twitter campaigns or the lack of them?
No, not them, because it's not a must-have for all businesses, that's for sure. I would say that a site like that or any business would sometimes be better off spending money on getting their maps, their opening hours, closing hours on Google, curating that, making sure that on TripAdvisor, if you're in that business, that you have someone always on the ball there and you're getting your customers to positive review you, depending on your segment, but definitely, and also concentrating a website about your business and making sure that's mobile, that it fits on mobiles well and tablets as well, and put more money into
staff as well. Kieran, you don't do any pub accounts, I don't think, do you?
Well, actually, ironically, in talks to do a local pub at the moment, so that could happen.
Well, no, let me ask you off the top of your head, which local pub, without prejudice, which ones have got this right, have got the balance right? Social media, you know what they do, you've got a sense of them.
I think the Blackbird, Sandino's do it quite well. I think that it's not a. I mean, actually, funny. I think Granny Annie's. They kind of have captured the kind of the voice or the intentions of their demographic well too. So, I mean, it is limited. Not all of them get it right, but none of them really particularly do it. Excellent. I don't think. I do. I'll not mention, but you probably are aware that I manage social for a large drinks company.
You do those TV ads, don't you?
Well, I don't do the TV ads. I do all the web ads for
Jackie Fullerton.
So that's for a big Diageo-owned brand. And we've seen. I mean, we've over 8 million engagements last year doing that, and it has had a knock-on effect to sales as well. So it's not to say it doesn't work.
But it works. It's changing all the time. Your Derry now is becoming the kind of site that mine has always been. There was a time in Derry, I think we used to tither when there were 4 sites. There was yours, there was mine, there was the Rice Bowl, and the the Dairy Journal. And it was just crazy because that was the 4 pages that we went to for the bars. And I noticed a disintegration of that. It's changing,
It's just so
things
much,
change.
There's so much noise.
Yeah, it's noise. So, I mean, I've decided on this programme, I am not looking for the 4 million hits anymore. I want my social media to serve my core business, which is stories, and the stories on a radio programme.
Quantity over quality.
Well, I think so, yeah.
Yeah, it has to be. I mean, I think what companies make the mistake of doing is that, I do social media for a living, but what companies do the most make mistake is they try and sell the business and not tell about the business. And you need to start telling people about your business on social, because you're competing for space on a timeline with people's holiday photos, airport check-ins, somebody's wee dog, somebody going back to school, back to school photos, and that's a business trying to compete for that. And if it's just going to be advert based, then people's going to switch you off.
But maybe there was a time, because we've crossed over from the non-digital time, Kevin, all three of us. There was a time if you didn't go on Pure Dairy, you didn't know what the bars wasn't there. Or maybe to a lesser degree, this programme or ones like it. But these days we all have our own little personalised silos, with that full of cute animals and the stuff that thinks what we think and that we like it, and therefore damn the world that doesn't think the way we think. And that's maybe the way that things go. And it's not about the world outside; it's about your world and the world that you want.
Yeah, we're living in the attention economy. Really, and some people think that everything, just in Twitter in general, some people think that everything they say, is wonderful. But I always tell people to do the experiment, whereas to take something like a one-liner from the Edinburgh Fringe Festival, they compile a list of them every year, something which is so funny, so witty, something you'd only come up with once in a lifetime, and tweet that without attribution, and see how little retweets you get, and you realise, well, actually, first of all, who's listening, but also, do people recognise true genius when they see it anyway? And yet people think that every word or thought they have is wonderful.
Kieran, Holly Martin's local photographer, says, as a friend has just put this to me, a bar owner quits social media because of its addictive nature and the effect it has on society.
Yeah, exactly.
That's smart.
Yeah, well, exactly, and that's a great piece of, that's almost satirical from Holly, and it's right. I mean, it sounds so absurd when you bring it down to that level. So as I say, I think that's just an excuse for the fact that they're not doing it well. They're not managing it well, as you said, Kevin, and they've got no strategy. But I think it's going to play into their future, definitely, because it's kind of put a nail in the coffin for them.
Fellas, a final word then. I mean, you both, Kevin, primarily academic. Kieran, you're working in the world of actual contracts and stuff, and selling Ulster fries and all the rest to the world. A word to businesses listening to this, because people would say, well, if Tim Martin doesn't need social media and Twitter, or he wants to just sell his stuff, well, surely that's word of mouth, old school. Maybe for some businesses that is, maybe for others it isn't. Kevin, what would you say to the small business, the entrepreneur listening to this, going, should I spend my life on Twitter trying to get ads and associations and likes, or just try to sell stuff?
Yeah, I mean, first of all, they know their customers better, they know their sales channels, but really is, of course, to do an inventory, to Google themselves and see how are people finding them, how does it appear, how does a website appear, what does it say about them, and then they'll know by others in the sector as well whether Facebook is working for them, whether Facebook brings in new customers, or whether it adds to their brand. And also Twitter, maybe is that a way for customers to get in contact with them? And there's also Instagram and other social medias. But really is, and don't believe everyone who comes in and tells them that you need to do this and this and this, really. But sometimes just making sure that your core website is mobile ready, and that people can find you there, contact you there, and that it says and that it paints a good picture.
Kieran, final word. I mean, look, and it's not because you're sitting there, but you have an instinct for this stuff. I just think some businesses don't. Maybe Tim Martin is right, and he won't suffer, and he can save money staffing and closing Twitter accounts and all the rest. But I don't know about you, but I just think it comes down to instinct, knowing what people want and what they don't want online.
Yeah, I mean, I think he's right in the context of it's not working for his business now because he's not prepared to make it work, and then also because he's not prepared to invest in the youth market. So from that point of view, he's kind of trying to save face, and it's not working. But I think if I had to give advice to anyone, local businesses, as I said, I think I've already given it. Try and tell, not sell, which is my mantra when I try and do stuff. And also I think. In that context of social media is that it's not just for every business. I think I constantly see what I call B2B businesses on Facebook, and you're like, why are you doing on Facebook? Like, Facebook is a platform for people. It's a social channel for people to go on and engage. So if you're selling stuff to people, to the general public, then be on Facebook. But if not, I would argue don't waste your time. So,
gentlemen, thank you both. I could talk to you for another 20 minutes, but I appreciate your expertise on that. Kieran Murray there of Pure Dairy and Your Dairy fame, Professor Kevin Curran from the Ulster University at McGee. I'll talk to you again tomorrow, folks. Take care.